about our favorite Eddie Murphy movies.
Yeah, what is your favorite Eddie Murphy movie, Dax Riggs?
The Color Purple.
Color Purple? Was Eddie Murphy in The Color Purple?
He was a little kid. He was like an extra.
Really?
That's fucking awesome.
I
I
mean...
hope that's recording.
Oh, it's definitely recording.
Oh, good.
We can start off on there. So I'm going to look at my phone a little bit.
Okay.
But it's because that's where my questions are
I'll be
written
doing
at.
that too.
So we're hanging out at the backstage in the backstage. Is that what you want to call it, Brian?
I'd say front stage, but
We're
front stage, backstage, whatever.
Well,
We're hanging
The
out
back
at the
door.
Nickel.
It's called the back door.
the back door. We're hanging out at the Triple Nickel. How's that?
Yeah, that's right.
It's 1:35 a.m. I've been drinking pretty well. How about you guys? Do you drink?
Yeah.
You got a water
I
going.
to drink a tad, a bit. Yeah, I drink a little bit.
Well, that's all bullshit questions. So I grew up. I was born in Dallas, Texas. One of the worst places to ever be born in. But I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana, which might be a worse place to grow up in. You were born in what? You spent your formidable years in Indiana,
Yeah.
and then moved to Houma,
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like? What was that transition like moving from
was
Indiana
like-
to Houma?
Moving into like a racial riot. Okay, with bricks being thrown and shit, and like, yeah, you know, kids suddenly bringing guns to school, and everybody's smoking something.
How old were you at the time when you moved to Louisiana?
13.
13. What year was that?
I don't know, man.
No idea. How old are you?
39.
39. Math. I'm 32. I don't know.
You got it.
74. 74? Math's smart. He's got it.
There you go.
He's,
Well, I'm 41, so I could always do math.
yeah.
So around that time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably like late 80s, I guess, or early 90s. I'm not
Probably.
sure. Both.
Fair enough. You were young enough age. So you moved to Houma, which is funny because I know that you're a comic book fan. Did you read Did you read the Sandman comics growing up,
Yeah.
or later on,
Mhm.
which
Yeah,
were
later
based
on.
in
Well,
the 90s?
Swamp Thing was totally based, and that's what I was really into, Alan Moore and Swamp Thing, and so going to Houma, it's a place that I knew, so it was weird. It struck me as like a weird coincidence, or was it telling me something? Was the universe pointing towards something that I didn't understand yet?
Right. Which is where so you're living in Houma. What were you listening to at the time?
Iron Maiden, a lot of thrash, the golden age of thrash, Heathen, Testament, all their first things, Exodus, Celtic Frost, Into the Pandemonium. That was and also Jimi Hendrix, that whole like his greatest hits kind of thing, and The Doors and John Mellencamp, I think.
Hey, John Mellencamp rules.
Was it John Cougar or was it John Mellencamp?
Well, Blood on the Scarecrow, man.
That's a great song. Right?
Now,
Yeah.
did you discover this in Louisiana, or is this what you brought with you?
No, this is all stuff that I was. Well, I mean, I brought Iron Maiden with me,
Right.
and then I was into Slayer and everything when I was like 12. I discovered this, college radio station there in Indiana. When I was, I'd stay up late and record, on my cassette tape and record I heard Slayer doing Inagata Devita and Bathory and just shit that kind of blew my mind in a lot of ways. And I mean, at the time, but I was already into Prince and Twisted Sister and Duran Duran and everything leading up to that, that I loved, and then Simon and Garfunkel was soon to follow. You know, like I was like, holy shit. You know.
So it was a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with that whole like crossover experience? You know, like
Big time. Even when I moved to Louisiana, you know, being more of like a metal kid, I immediately ran into a bunch of punk kids who were like Crass and like Dead Kennedys, and so that was like immediately my second thing. You know, are you drinking this?
Let me finish it.
being someone who's slightly, just slightly older than you, like, you know, I mean, I definitely can say, like, I can remember, like, you know, those early metal years, like, you know, you're coming out of, like, pop rock, and all of a sudden you're like, here's metal. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, how brutal could metal be? And then you're like, maybe if we mix it with some, like, punk, and all of a sudden you're like,
Obituary.
DRI.
And you get
like,
Obituary.
You know,
Yeah, Obituary for
I mean, honestly, like, the big one for me was, like, Stormtroopers of Death. Like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like, that's what you
I had my
like,
grandfather
changed the
get
game.
that for me. My grandpa, who was like 70-some years old, when I was 12 years old, I gave him a list of records. One of them was like Wasp, one of them was SOD, one of them I think was Guns N' Roses. One was, I don't even remember, maybe it was an Iron Maiden, I don't know, but, or it could have been Metallica, but, you know, anyway, it was something like that, you know, so he went there and got that, you know, Speak English or Die.
That album was like the game changer though in the 80s for a lot of people, because like nothing like that, like, you know, like you're like, I was like into Wasp, I was like listening to Maiden, all of a sudden
Yeah, when
like, the mulatto
I met him, he runs sound downtown in Austin, and I met him. It was like
Billy.
weird, you know,
That's
to
crazy.
meet him, and like he's just running sound for bands there at the fucking Headhunters, you know.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, but he's a nice guy.
Okay, so you're
Sorry, I'm
No,
probably
no, no,
get
no.
back to what he
no. This is
Let's just talk about old punk
it's
bands.
fluid. Fluid. That's not a word, but we're gonna pretend it is. So you're a teenager. You just moved to home in Louisiana. You like the Alan Moore Swamp Thing books, which I like. Great. How do you find roots in this area? Was it through the music? Homa's what, 30 minutes away from New Orleans? Where I
An
grew
hour.
up, where I grew up in Louisiana, we didn't go to New Orleans. We went to Dallas instead,
Yeah.
because Dallas was 3 hours away.
That was the place where we went. It was like our mecca. It was the place where we, you know, the first place we drove to and slept on the streets, you know, and, you know, did those things with, you know, like found street kids and
Right, yeah.
snorted strange chemicals with them and like danced all night in fucking zombie dance clubs, man. I mean, that was really what was happening there and what we came to see, and then yeah, that was just like the party aspect of it, you know. Then there were, you know, of course there were bands happening that we discovered
But there
through
was
my
never-
own thing
yeah.
in a different way, you know, through my band and all, you know.
There was never
Exhorter and
anything
all that.
you sought out there. It was like, oh my God, this band's playing New Orleans. this
No. We just
Okay.
went there to like have a good time.
Do you remember the Know Nothing Circus?
No.
No, there were the very first time I ever saw a naked woman. It was these street kids, and they would do this. It was street kid naked. Long story short, I was 17 years old in Shreveport, and they're like, "Hey, we're going on this." It was this Know Nothing Circus, but I've Googled them and found so much information about them since. But so, did you get the radio stations of New Orleans in Houma, or no?
I don't think so. I really don't know.
So when did you make the move from listening to this music to starting it on your own to playing
Well, I
it?
mean, I always wanted to. As soon as I moved there, I was playing with kids and stuff around there. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Coming in town.
I loved you guys.
It was a good night.
It
Wasn't
was.
it?
It absolutely was.
Listen, when you're reloading.
It's fine.
I think everybody loaded it. I think they're well loaded, everything. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing else here.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Good night.
I love you all very much. I love you too.
I love you.
somehow. I've never met you, but I heard you, and
Dax.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you very much.
I'm glad that someone who doesn't know anything about me and will never see me again loves me. That's cosmic.
Because you look, you know, it's a little bit like Montel Williams. And everybody has a little bit of love
Oh
for
my
Montel
god,
Williams.
thank you, base god.
Hey, you're welcome, Montel. Shit.
Alright, boys. Dax, you're not a boy, you're a god. Everything always, forever, love, 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 lust. Have a great night.
Me too.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Holy
Wow.
cow. Yeah.
Didn't know that. Like that.
Well, I apologize.
Real quick, while that's going on, I'm coming right back, but would you like a shot? Like a JMO or anything? I can go grab us some stuff.
I'm probably good, man.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right,
I'll get
cool.
you some more water, though.
Cool. I'll get you some more.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Actually, I'll get you water. Right?
That's right. You're 38. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so you're like 3 years younger than me, so like I totally have that same experience of like, you know, coming from like, I was military brat, I moved all over the place, like, so you know, you bring like pop and metal and all that crazy shit. Put it all together, piece it into like something like crazy punk rock.
Thank you.
And then try to reconcile it against like your pop background.
It's good.
So
It's good for you. It's good.
I don't know what
What just happened?
stuff happened. I know what Matt was saying, but the young
yeah.
lady's coming back. But so when did you move to New Orleans and discover that scene of things? Same sort of time period.
Yeah. I was about 12, 13. Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, I was.
Were you hearing it on the
I
radio
moved-
stations? Or no?
No, we just went there. I mean, like, I brought, like, all my Megadeth and all my SOD with me. I was, you know, that radio station turned me on to it. And my little group of friends, you know, we were, like, into anime and, like, you know,
Which back then was
death
really
metal
hard
or,
to get
you know,
into.
speed metal, you know.
How did you find these things back in those days? Because it's not as easy as it is now.
Yeah, I mean, some, you know, kids at my church, you know, they were like, hey.
Really, you would find the anime at church?
Dude, yeah, definitely. They were like, you know, there was like the little dark, you know, strain in the church you'd gravitate towards, and they'd be like, yeah, we have like Captain Harlock and, you know, this, you know, whatever, you know, fucking.
So, did you spend a lot of time in the church?
Yeah, when I was young,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I used to go out in service and stuff as a Jehovah's Witness.
What kind of? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness. I'm not familiar with that kind because
It's
where
really like a weird. I mean, it has, you know, an end of the world vibe where, you know, we're all gonna die, but it's okay, and we'll all be resurrected, and it's pretty heavy trip for, I think, a little kid to, you know.
And do you think that has like influenced the way you like write songs? Do you know growing up that way?
Man,
Definitely?
sure. I mean, my real father was a, you know, like a head elder in a kingdom hall. You know, he was a man who like lived his life totally by the Bible. That was my grandfather, who, you know, was really the person who I was probably raised more by as a male figure than anyone when I was young. And I definitely feel, you know, apocalypse and, you know, revelation everywhere I turn. I mean, believe me, I'm driving around this country in a van, so I can see that things are, you know, going crazy. Like, just the weather, all the homeless people, just the people who seem to be like kind of hopeless.
Totally. Do you feel hopeless?
No. I feel like, things have got to like fall apart, to get
Back together.
put back together in a better shape.
I don't know where to go from that.
I got a question.
Okay,
I'm just
keep going.
Well, I'm just kind of curious. It's not straight stemming from that,
No,
but like
no, it's
as
all-
far as you playing, of course, everybody, a lot of people recognize you from Acid Bath, which is a great band, but they've been broken up for about like
20
15 years, 20 years?
years,
Yeah,
I
20
think.
years, like.
I'm not sure.
So what do you think of, when like people come here expecting Acid Bath, or just people still associate you with Acid Bath, yet
Yeah.
what you're doing is
Well-
totally different from Acid Bath, I see similarity in myself, but like,
Yeah.
I just,
What do I think? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I get a kick out of it.
yeah.
I mean, I can't. I mean, like anybody would that would experience
Yeah.
that. I mean, yeah, it seems a little. But I mean, people don't really expect me to play that, so
Yeah.
it's just kind of weird. They're kind of wrapped up for that sometimes in a place like this where we haven't been in a long time.
Like tonight where they're
Yeah.
shouting, "Dead girl!" Yeah.
Well, no, I always no. That's like
Yeah.
my wake up call. Like, well, Dead Girl, yeah. I haven't played that in a long time, but I hear it at every show. Dead Girl. But I don't know. It makes me laugh, kind of. Like, I don't know why. It amuses me. And I only do this for myself anyway. I mean, as I hope anyone would. Yeah, we all need to do this.
Totally,
I mean,
Play music for yourself, People like it, it's great, but you gotta.
See, I actually do have a question about that. Like, you were talking about like kind of where your roots are, right? And like your grandfather, and driving around and kind of like seeing it. And how's that affect your music? Because it seems like that's a big part of you. So I assume that might be a part of like the things you write about and even the way you perform like today.
Oh yeah, I mean, I want to be, Lead Belly. I want to be like a kind of a psyched out, like slightly heavy metal Lead Belly, or I mean, my grandpa when he played, he sounded like Johnny Cash. So that's like who I
like that.
as a baby, that's who I was singing with. Like I have recordings of me going like freaking out, singing along with him and shit. But like it's like funny when you think about Acid Bath, and it's like it seems like it's all kind of weirdly tied together.
I mean, I having also lived in the South, I mean, I don't know, there's like this part that just like goes with you that's so different. Like, living in Colorado, I always feel kind of like there's parts of me that are always going to be an outsider here, because there's parts of me that you have to like spell out to people that aren't from like a Southern background, like there's more church, there's more, like I grew up with like
Fuck the
Baptist
church.
and stuff, and like
Burn the church.
Yeah.
and all that shit was around, and like,
Tourism.
and then you come up to like someplace like Colorado where it's religious, but in a really different way, and it's like, nah. I grew up with
It's so
like,
hard for me to tell, man, because I just like stay inside my house, Like I try not. I don't know. Like
And
I know
I'm not
there's
even
religious
religious.
people everywhere, and
Yeah.
I find them to be slightly savage, and slightly very unsophisticated. I mean, the Christian idea is a wonderful thing to help your brother, but it's been twisted
Right.
and used to make war, and used against people that you should be caring for. They've twisted it so that somehow those people need to be punished or need to be judged.
Absolutely. Like the whole, to me, like the whole mindset is, it's supposed to be about, don't judge, love thy neighbor, don't judge. But hardcore Christians are like the most judgmental people I've ever met.
It's a very
Yeah.
it's a very Malcolm X thing, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, be careful, or the media will have you like hating the people you're supposed to be loving, and like
Me included.
loving the people you're supposed to be hating. And I bring that up because I mean, shit, dude. I care less about most people's religions, but you know, having lived in the South, I know it's definitely like it's got different roots than it does like in other areas of the country.
Fuck if I know.
Well, what I like is you're a very soft-spoken, kind of quiet individual, but you're known for these bands like Acid Bath. I remember skateboarding. Like, I'm 32 now. At the age of 14, my buddy David Binge had found Acid Bath somehow on America Online before the internet existed. I said, hey, we bought it at a sound warehouse in Shreveport, goddamn Louisiana, and we would skateboard to that. But then when I meet you, you're a quiet, soft-spoken individual, but you definitely have these ideas, you have these views. How do you end up as a frontman? How do you end up as a voice, like saying these things? Like, is that something that's naturally occurring, or is it? I don't know. Like, how does that happen?
I don't know. It's not
Really?
naturally occurring to me. I mean, it's only natural for me to sing and like, you know, like be creative. That's natural for me in a fun way. It feels like what I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything beyond that is kind of, I'm trying my best, you know, to be, you know, someone that can do this all the time. Because I don't know if I really can.
Well, can you do this all the time?
No,
like you've
no,
done
I
pretty
can't.
well tonight so far. How do you feel about tonight?
Oh no, it was great. I mean,
How do you feel about last night? I mean,
it was
like,
great. I mean, we really have great shows. We have like a weird cult, you know,
Yes.
following. That's, you know, it seems like, I don't know. They're very, very kind.
And then you go home and you're like, I'm just a dude.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? How do you write these kind of materials?
You know, it just starts with a thought, and then I usually trance out with, you know, just guitar and maybe smoke, you know, or a vapor, you know, even better. But just, I don't know. I try to listen to myself, like listen to my spirit in some weird fashion, and I don't try to ask too many questions like, what am I trying to do? I mean, I know people do that. They have this big plan. I want to write this song, or I'm this person who's telling this. No, it's more or less like I wonder what I want to hear. Like, what do I need to say? What is not being said? What needs to be filled that's not there? What is not there in the universe that I need to hear from me? I'm doing it for me, you know? And I think that's a good thing to do.
So it's been 3 years since the last Dax Riggs solo album. Is it something? Does it take that much time to put something together, or is it just like, hey?
Yeah, no, it does. It takes that long, especially when you start to just like want to squeeze more out of the spirit, the vibe, the thing, the muse.
What
you
is
know?
the thing?
I don't know, man. It's in the air. It's like you can't ever really get it, but you try to like use it or take it in and push it out and be part of it. Like, I don't know. Like, be part of the universe. Be part of things. I don't know. You listen to yourself. Listen to your spirit.
So how do you listen to yourself and be part of that spirit, and how do you do these things? Because I don't know how to do these things, and that's what I'm trying to learn myself.
Just
as
like be
Damien.
really quiet and like play just a note on a guitar over and over until you find something that you feel comfortable singing, something that feels good to you, you know, and mess around. It may take hours and hours and hours, but I think
What feels good to you? Because I know some of the songs are pretty dark and interesting.
I mean, they feel good to me. I mean, maybe what feels good to me wouldn't feel good to everyone, but you know, that's I like sad songs make me happy. You know.
What do you like to write? Sad songs. That's what you like to write about.
I do. I'm not saying I like to. It's just what I do.
I get what you're saying.
Have you toured mostly since that last album, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, we toured like, you know, as a band that did that record for like 2 years straight, practically. You know, I mean, not straight, but you know, on and off for 2 years.
Like the standard though, like I am deeply involved in being out there on the road and getting this out to people, like, and singing these songs, like these things that.
Well, we did only those songs for that long time. That's why now we're doing like other things. You know, it's like for me, it's like I did that for a long time. You know, like where you support your record and you play all those songs on the new record, a couple of songs from the last couple of records. You do that, you do that, you do that into the fucking ground, and then you're ready to like do something else with maybe, you know, in a situation where you can quickly like do newer songs. You could throw a Mickey Newberry song in there, or you could learn something together overnight and do it, you know, like instead of like the full,
always have to be this thing and
the full, you know, thing.
And is it different, you know, doing this, like, as you were mentioning earlier, you know, with me, like, where you're saying, you know, usually you do have a drummer and everything, and a lot of times, you know, back when you're home, you do this acoustic stuff, but you've been touring with it. Is it different? Has it been getting, you know, a new reaction? Is it different? And mainly, like, is it different for you to play? Is it kind of a little more difficult or easier?
Yeah, it's different, you know, and I'm, you know, it's evolving, you know, as it goes along, but I think it's helping me figure out where I'm going with the next record, like kind of like, you know, a heavy folk thing with some prog elements, you know, like, you know, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, you know, like digging a lot of krautrock, a lot of like African music from the psychedelic age. And
what's it like that, like 20 years of material? I mean, like, I have a lot of friends who are in like bands here who've been through multiple iterations, and some of them are like, you know, I'm not even that great of a writer, but you know, like they're sitting on 20 years of songs, and there's those songs that they're like, God, I miss that song, but I can't go back there because, yeah, I'm here now.
Sure. I'm totally there. I mean, I love all my songs, but some of them are just so far back there. It's like when I try to do them, I'm just like, I can't sing this and believe it anymore.
Yeah.
And I would rather leave it in the grave than fucking dance around with its corpse in some mother's wedding dress. You know what I mean?
Awesome. I like the way you put that. I mean, right? Like,
I mean, that's how I feel. And when the time is right, I'll do these things, you know, and like there are, you know, no door is ever closed to me artistically, like, you know, going back and taking things and making them new, you know, so.
You're not going to black flag it and put on a. How do I put this in a tasteful way?
Yeah.
Well, no, because there's a place for flag. There's a place for black flag. There's not going to be a time for you to go back and reiterate like, oh, hey, this is me and a bunch of backing musicians. We're called Acid Bath. because that's what I did when I was 19, 20,
that would
21.
that would be really against what I feel to be
Right.
correct. I mean, the only fucking way I would do it is taking songs that I wrote and reinterpreting them as I
Yeah.
feel they should be in the future. That's all I would do. And even if I didn't write them, if I felt really attached to them, but for the most part, it would only be things that I actually wrote, because I did write
Yeah.
some riff type things that were changed, to accommodate like what we were trying to do. Working together as a band does.
So when you're out now, like you live, are you living in Austin, Texas now? Is that what I got? Where are you living
No,
now?
I live in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Lafayette.
now.
I love Lafayette. It's a very wonderful.
It's a good place.
I can't explain it.
It's hard to explain.
It's better than New Orleans. I don't know. It's Lafayette, but it's not pretending to be anything other than it is. It's got the college there, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
But still. So.
It does.
So when people come out to see you, I don't even know where I'm trying to go now. But when you're writing songs now, could you go back to a time? Could you write an Acid Bath song right now if you wanted to?
I don't think so. It's like I was so into that, and that was so everything that I wanted to do at the time, that for it to be that, I would have to be there.
Yeah, right.
And it's like now I'm like trying to do something in a a little dash of Leonard Cohen, a little bit of the Gun Club, like I want like roots music and
Yeah,
punk metal to like fuse together.
And what I wanted to ask earlier, which I think I might not have asked right, like you're living in New Orleans. Like I know from Shreveport sucked. Terrible town. Let's not even talk about that. But I know that like when I would go visit friends in New Orleans, in the southern part of the state, they had all these different ideas. And New Orleans specifically has all this different growing style. Like there's so much there. Did that, growing up in that environment, influence what? Because there's so much different. You got the Zydeco, you got the fucking, you have the country, you have what you were doing already.
Certainly. I mean, just going out to like bars, I would see some like premier like blues players, like Tad Benoit and stuff. Like when they played just in bars, like I mean. And lots of other people that I can't even remember. I mean,
Me neither.
It just seems to like, I don't know. I mean, I always loved that kind of music, and I was always endeared to it, and I always wanted to be more soulful. So it's been like a quest. That's been my personal quest, like trying to get like, okay, I love Iron Maiden, but I don't want to sound like that. But I'd like some of that put into this, like, more soulful mechanism of song, So that's what I don't hear in the world that I would like to hear, and I'm here actually to do that.
What I like is that, and I apologize, like when I was 16, 17, maybe not 17, but when I was a younger kid, I heard those early Acid Bath albums in Shreveport, North Louisiana. And then here I am now, in the last couple of weeks, I've been listening to your solo stuff. It's fantastic. I don't mean that in the kiss ass way. I mean it is in it's a total evolution of what it's become something. Like it's very similar, the same bass, the same root, but you can. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So when you have people show up at shows like this, and they're yelling for those old songs, and you're like, I can't.
I have mercy. I have so much mercy that it just
You're just such a
pours out of me, man,
just
like
so-
blood out of the fucking I mean, I guess I appreciate them, and I feel like even though, I mean, sometimes they go too far, but sometimes they make it fun.
Did you have fun tonight?
Yeah,
Cool.
I did.
I'd like, you just have this being about you that's like, man, it's just fun to hang out and talk, and that's of course what we're trying to do. Are you happy with the music you're making now?
Yeah, I really am. I'm striving for something like, I like the band, Van Morrison, Dr. John, Leon Russell, stuff like that, where it's kind of like Southern music, kind of funky, but I want to make it a little like King Crimson-ish. If we could make these things meld together, and I know we can. I've felt it before.
Henry,
Is there like any band like that kind of hits that? Like I know you have a role, but is there like any band you listen to where you're like, God damn, that band, they're 9/10 of like this thing that I'm totally in love with?
Sure, lots of bands that I'm in love with, and I'd like to have a piece of that in me. And all the bands that I just mentioned, and along with like a lot of like, I get into a lot of Turkish psych music and Iranian music from the 70s. What they call Zamrock, which is like Zambian psychedelic metal from like the 70s. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Ngozi Family, Witch. I love all this world music that's kind of heavy, psychedelic, funky too. So
Is there a modern band? I mean,
a modern
like,
band? No, I can't say. No, I wish there was, but I just don't know of one.
I was just wondering.
So-
'cause, I mean, I listen to a lot of crazy shit. And like,
There's a
the
lot of
bands,
stuff
like
that
you
I
mentioned,
like,
I
but
yeah, as same as all of us. What are you reading right now? Do you read a lot? I know you're a comic book fan. I'm a comic book fan, and I was very, very impressed by that.
yeah, I'm actually reading Slain. The Pat Mills, Simon Bisley and Pat Mills, I think they wrote it. Yeah, I'm reading that comic book wise. It's kind of just a fun, cool thing, you know. I mean, along with like Rare Bit Fiends, Rick Veit's dream comic, which I love. I love that shit. Just this insane dream from beginning to end that makes a lot of sense and no sense. You know, it's weird.
Like an e-reader guy on the road? Or
No,
like
no, I'm a comic book guy, or like, you know, I'm also God damn, I can't. Well, I have Dharma Bums,
Yes.
Jack Kerouac.
Yes.
I'm reading, and I'm also reading the Frederick Douglass, the escaped slave who became, you know, his like, you know, story. I'm reading that book too. Fuck.
It's okay. I just tripped over my own stuff too. And that all goes into. I'm going to assume that you're reading these books, and when you're trying to write songs, it works into that same
sure.
mind space as well.
Absolutely.
Well, how much longer do we have to wait for another solo record from yourself? Because this last one, and it may sound like bullshit, it's great. I loved it. And I apologize for not listening to it until this week, but I liked it a lot.
That's fine. I'm glad you liked it. Within the next year, for sure. I mean, we'll be diligently working on songs, and I have them all. I mean, we have more than enough songs for a record. It's just a matter of nailing down the specifics.
And you're going to do it Lafayette-esque area?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Do you do it on your own?
Yeah, we're gonna do it all analog this time, actually,
Great.
because we have a tape machine there and like the whole fucking thing. So it's gonna be really fun this
Wonderful.
time.
Brian, Matt, anything else for you guys?
I think I'm good, man. Thank you for playing out here.
Hey,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Appreciate it,
talking
man.
with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, all right, buddies. Well, thanks to Matt Genero and Brian Ostro for hanging out, helping do that interview. And when I say thanks, I mean next time I'm not going to invite Matt because, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just talking shit. Thanks for everything, Matt. Matt's a good dude. Matt drives me around everywhere now that I don't have a car. We make it to many, many shows because of him and his kindliness. Thanks to Dax Riggs for hanging out and talking with us. He had made a comment that, he's like, I don't really like to do a lot of interviews because people tend to collect them, but what you seem to be doing seems to be honest and genuine and real and yada, yada, yada. So it was a pleasure sitting down and talking with him, somebody who had important impact on my early life in the 90s while I was being a fat kid riding a bike while my friends would skateboard. It's good times. Friends, if you haven't been to mostlyharmlesspodcast.com, please visit mostlyharmlesspodcast.com. You can find a listing of all our other episodes. Head over to iTunes. Click that little subscribe button, friends. Hit that subscribe button. It's a good, important button. Like us on Facebook. Leave us an iTunes review. Leave me a comment on Facebook. I love it all. I love you all. This week we're going to be I'm in the process of moving, so we're going to be hosting a sale on Mostly Harmless t-shirts because, well, that's just one less thing for me to take to Denver and or Oakland, wherever I decide to go in the next 2 weeks. That's less shit for me to take to either place. So please visit mostlyharmlesspodcast.com, or if you're lazy like me, mhpod.com, and go buy some stuff. Next week we should have an interview up with the directors of the Descendants documentary Filmage, and we'll see what other special guests we can get and other specialties we can get along the way, buddies. So all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end this track with another. We're gonna go ahead and end this track. We're gonna go ahead and end this interview with another track off Blood or Love, Dax Riggs' newest but still a little bit older album from I think 2012. I don't have it in front of me. The song is called "Living is Suicide." Thanks for checking this out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side, buddies.
Along the highway in the graveyard line, have mercy on the devil, he's a friend of mine. Sometimes dancing this phantom I bind down my spine. Have mercy on the devil, he's a friend of mine. Sometimes we are living the suicide. If God looked upon us, it would surely leave us blind. Surely leave us blind. Surely leave us blind. Surely leave us blind. Living is suicide. 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 Living is suicide.